Hello, Satyam Sundar. Hi, Akshay. Hope I am audible. So, Prasad. Hello, Dilip. Easy, that's bad. Good afternoon, Satyam. So I see about 40-45 people are there. Let's start. So today's topic is going to be on modeling lamps. So let me start with a very simple thing. This is the modeling lamp which we use most of the time, or something similar to this. So everyone is familiar with these modeling lamps. Now these are known as the halogen version, and they are usually warm, roughly around 3200 Kelvin to 3400 Kelvin. The purpose of the modeling lamp is only to show where the light is actually falling. When we go to the newer versions of lights, such as the 600 Pro, I'll just show you. So if I look at the 600 Pro, you will see inside the 600 Pro we have a modeling lamp. Now this is an LED modeling lamp. This is quite different from the modeling lamp which I showed you earlier. So these are the two types of modeling lamps. This is the LED version, and this has got the this is a halogen version. Now between the two, this in many cases could be about 150 watts, but this, the LED one, will be much lesser in wattage, so-called wattage. The power generally would be about 30-35 watts. That's what is the general power of these LED lamps. Besides that, the interesting thing is the LED is far more brighter than the modeling lamps which we are using, the halogen lamps. So most of the newer lights are now using the LED modeling lamps. Again, all battery operated lights will use LED lamps for the simple reason the LED consumes less energy as compared to these lights or these bulbs. So we use LEDs in most of the battery powered lights, always will have an LED. Now generally speaking, modeling lamps on lights will have 4 settings, 3 to 4 settings I would say. So now which are the 3 or 4 settings which will be there on the light? You will have one on and off setting, that is a standard setting. Then you will have settings of power which can be proportional. Proportional means as you increase the intensity of the light, the modeling light will become brighter. If you decrease it, it will become darker or lesser. So that is proportional. The third one which we have is generally full power. Now some lights also offer you the option of increasing the power separately from the modeling lamp, from the flash power. So those are the general 4 controls which we have on modeling lamps, which you will find in most lights. Now coming back to the purpose of the modeling lamp, it's basically just to help you to show where the light is falling. Now there is going to be one major difference. What if I'm using one light which is say 8600 Pro, and the other if I'm using something like an SK400. Now the modeling lamp on the SK400 would be probably a halogen lamp, and that on the 600 Pro is going to be an LED lamp. So there's going to be a major difference between the two lights. The modeling lamp will not give you an idea, correct idea, as to which light is brighter and which light is darker. So this is one thing which you have to keep in mind when you are using modeling lamps. Now, can the modeling lamp be used exclusively for photography? Yes. Even I have used the modeling lamps at times for photography, especially if you're using low intensity shots. So sometimes for jewelry people will use LED lamps. Sometimes for jewelry people will also use the tungsten light or these kind of modeling lamps which we get. So you can use these if you are going to shoot something which is not going to move. Also for creative effects you can use these lamps, especially if you want to blur the subject. The modeling lamp is definitely going to be useful. Coming to the newer series of lights which have come in the market, which is the FV series. Now the FV series has got a very interesting thing about it. These lights are basically LED lights, and you can use them for still as well as video. The modeling lamp will remain constantly on, or the LED light will remain constantly on, and if you want you can use one of the triggers of Godox and fire it. So this is something which is very, very interesting. It's a very nice light to use, especially for weddings. Now post lockdown you are going to have a scenario where weddings and for a wedding photographer they'll probably have to shoot video as well as stills. So again, you may not be able to afford assistants which we were able to afford earlier. Probably you will have to do a one-man show, or one or two people will have to shoot. So in this kind of a scenario, definitely you will find the FV series lights very useful, because you can just put a trigger and shoot and record with the video whenever you want to record a video. So both the things are going to be possible with FV lights. Coming to a very common question which I am asked, which is which light is better between the V1 and the V860 Mark II? Well, one of the major differences in the V1 is a modeling lamp. Now you will be surprised, the V1 has a small little modeling lamp, and we can have the proportion of the modeling lamp power can increase. Here we've got the modeling lamp, this is at minimum power, and I can keep increasing it. So one can see, even on the video you will be able to see it, if I'm placing the light, the V1 is going to allow to show me where the light is falling. Very often what happens is, the light you may want it to fall in this particular manner, but because of an absence of a modeling lamp, it can just go this way and you will miss the subject. So the V1, one of the major advantages of the V1 is this particular modeling lamp, which you can increase or decrease in brightness. So that's something which I would like you to definitely keep in mind when you are buying a V1. That's a plus point over the V860. So let us open this thing to discussion. If anybody has any problems or any questions regarding lighting or whatever I've talked about modeling lamps, can we just discuss it? I can go on for the questions. So I'm just waiting for anybody to ask me a question, and I can respond from there on. You can just type in the questions. Okay, looks like no one is really keen to ask questions. So then I can continue with my subject. Now, what happens with the difference between the V1? As I said, one of the most major parts, major difference is the power, the modeling lamp, and which you can control the power of the modeling lamp up or down. Yeah, I think Mr. Kannan here has a question regarding V1, so I'll wait for his question. The power can go up or down, and it's in 1/10 stops division, so it's about 10 grades of power which you can do. Okay, now Mr. Akshay here is asking me a question. What are the terms 200, 400 and 600 in the AD series? 200, 400 and 600 is the watt second power, WS, or watt seconds, that is the input. Watt seconds, always remember, is how much energy is going in. Now this again is a misnomer. Very often people give this number, an arbitrary number, to the model, but it's not necessary that the 200 watt second light of brand A and the 200 watt second light of brand B are both going to be the same power. Why is that? Because as I said, this is the input. The output is only measured with a flash meter, and as a photographer, for me, what is more important is the output. I would not be really interested in the input. A question has been asked whether can LED bulb be used in SK400. The answer is no. The LED bulb which I showed you in AD600 is a single chip on board modeling lamp. Now if you use something like a separate LED type of a bulb which you manage to get with a screw mount, and you fix it, force fit it into the filter thread, into the thread of the SK400, yes, the commercial one will technically, it may work, but it is not advisable. Okay, somebody found the flash V1 flash not perfectly sync with other flashes, the V1 master and 860 as 850 or Mark II as a slave. I think Mr. Kannan, what you'll have to do is you'll have to just, if it is not working, you'll have to just take a photograph of the V1 and the 850, and we will see what is the setting. Now one of the things which I think is possible is the V1 is only works as a radio trigger. The 850 used to work as an optical trigger as well as a radio one. So the slave option also, if by mistake in the 850 you have put the option of the slave as an optical slave, it might not be triggering it. So that is a possibility, but still take a picture and send it to us. We will be able to immediately tell you what is wrong with the two setups. So again, let me explain to you the 600 and the 200, 400, 600. These lights are generally the watt second power, and brand A and brand B may not be the same. So generally what we go by is the guide number or the actual flash output. Okay, now how do you set HSS mode with 865 V865 through the X1 transmitter? Again, it is different for Nikon and it's different for Canon. In Canon you can straight away just send do the setting in the camera and you will find it works perfectly well. So the HSS, in fact I'll be coming up with a video within a couple of days on HSS and flash duration. So it will be available on the YouTube channel Dhananjay Moray photographiceducation.com. So you can check it out there. Okay, what should we buy as a beginner photographer? Again, as a beginner photographer, it depends what is the budget which you have, and if you want to go in future into professional photography. So something which you will grow with, maybe you can start with the 865. That is a good light to start with as a beginner. The V1 is also a good choice, because the advantage of a V1 is, again, it's a standalone, we can use it separately, a lot of accessories can be used on it, as with the 865 also. So as a beginner, that is one of the things which I would go for. If you are looking for as a beginner for a studio light, I would advise the SK400 kit. That's a very cost effective kit, and you can use it very easily. So that's what Mr. Ranjit has also answered the same thing. They denote the power of the strobe in watts. The actual thing is, it's not watts, it's watts second, or technically the term is called joules in the amount of energy burnt. So that is what the power is, 200, 400, 600. There is also now a new 1200 coming up, which will be a power pack version. So you can it's generally double, so 1200 will be double of the 600 power. So that would be a very, very powerful light, especially for somebody who wants to use it outdoors to overpower the sun. Now again, this is a very common question which I am asked is, if I want to shoot outdoors and I want to overpower the sun, what kind of a light should I use? So if it is if the outdoor sun is not very bright, a 200 watt seconds can also do the job. So the AD200 Pro can also do the job. The AD600 is generally a little heavy light, so if you want to put it on a boom pole or something like that, it will become very difficult. So something like a AD200 or AD400 is a very good light for that. Now if you want to overpower the sun in the afternoon, then you definitely need the power of a AD600 Pro, or maybe even a 1200. So that is one of the things which you would require. So power is directly related to, again, there's something known as flash duration. Now what is the flash when you're using HSS, what happens is as you increase your shutter speed and you go to around, say, 1/2000 of a second, the intensity of the flash reduces, and reduces quite a bit. So if you are starting with a 200 watt second light, you will find that the output may be something like only 5 watts or 10 watts. Whereas if you are starting with a 600 watts second light, you will find that at its minimum power you will get at least 15-20 watts, which is much more than the 4-5 watts which you are getting with the AD200. That is why we generally say it's if you want to overpower the sun and use HSS, you will have to use a higher power light. So that's what you will need. So again, coming back to as a beginner, the power of the Godox V1 is quite close to that of the AD200. Especially if you look at the guide number, they will be the same. So the output is going to be very similar. So you can use even the V1 to overpower the sun in this. Very nice question. While exposing during HSS, does the faster shutter speed affect the distance traveled? Mr. Jitendra, the speed of light is 1,80,000 kilometers per second. So at 1,80,000 kilometers per second, the light is absolutely not going to make any difference. But what is going to make a difference, I probably would rephrase that question, is if you bring the light closer to the subject, then it will make a difference. So if you are keeping the light far, obviously because the intensity has gone down, the effect will not be the same. So what you will have to do is, if you are using HSS, you can take the light and bring it close to the subject. If you bring it close to the subject, the light will become a little bit more powerful. As I had explained in my previous video, we had said the same thing, that one of the controls is physical distance between the light and the subject. So if you bring the light closer, you will increase the intensity. But again, if you are going to be putting a soft box, you are going to be putting some diffusion on front of that, you are going to find a little bit of a problem with that, because again that is going to cut the intensity of the light. So this is one thing which you have to keep in mind, which is why I prefer to have a much more powerful light to start with. So this is something which you can think of. Okay, Mr. Akshay Sharma, AD400 Pro or TT685, does the HSS will be accessible in the flash itself, or do I need to toggle on my camera? See, the way AD400 Pro is a totally different light, TT685 is totally different. Now if you have toggled on the HSS, especially if you are using a Canon, if you have toggled on the HSS in your camera, and the minute you put in a trigger of any kind, automatically the camera, the flash will go into HSS mode, otherwise it will not trigger only. As you increase your shutter speed, the camera is going to, otherwise it will, if it is not in HSS, it will not go beyond the sync speed. Mr. Jitendra Sahu, I think you would, just to understand HSS properly, just watch my video which is going to be coming in a couple of days. I'm just making it, I'm in the final stage of editing it. So you will, most of your questions regarding HSS will be answered there. So you can check it out there. Now for fashion photography, is the AD200 recommended? I'm looking for a single flash with multi-purpose use. The AD200 Pro is definitely a good flash to use. You can use it indoors and outdoors. But the AD200 Pro again does not have a modeling lamp if you are using it, if you take off the conventional head and you use a bare tube head. So the modeling lamp will not work. So I would rather go for a 400 or a 600 if you want to use it for fashion, more versatile. The AD200 Pro again you can use if you have, the beauty of the AD200 Pro is you can take two of them, club them together and make them into an AD400 type light also. So that's one of the advantages. But again, remember, modeling lamp is going to be an issue, and especially for fashion, modeling lamp will be a big issue because you will not be able to see where the light is falling. So that's one thing which you would like to see. I don't see many more questions coming up. So as I just now showed you, even the V1 instead of the AD200 Pro, even the V1 has a modeling lamp, so you can use it a little bit for fashion. Later on, if you have started out by buying the AD200, the V1, you can later on use the V1 as maybe even a background light or as a standalone cut light and things like that. So this is a very versatile light. It has got a modeling lamp and it has got its own set of accessories, including honeycomb grids and things like that. It can also work in soft boxes. So I find this light pretty good, pretty useful. Yes, Mr. Anil and Mr. Vikram, welcome. I hope you all are enjoying this presentation which I am giving you. I have been having some issues with the setup, so I'm still trying to figure out a way to make this more reliable, and let's see if we can, by next time it will probably be even more reliable setup than what I'm having right now. The Sarvanan Mano sir say about the AD300. The AD300 Pro has not yet come in. It's been released in China, but it's not yet come into here, and after with the lockdown. I don't know when it's going to come. Which modifier is better, parabolic softbox or the octa softbox for the AD200? See, I have a preference for something which is cheaper and which does the job. So I prefer the umbrella kind of octa softboxes. Again, which softbox is very useful outdoors? Something around the 90 centimeters or 1 meter size softbox is very good outdoors. You can use that. You can put it on a boom stand and it's still hand holdable. If you go for something bigger like 1.2 meters or something, then it becomes very difficult to hand hold it. Even if somebody is holding it for you, it becomes a little difficult in the outdoors. So that softbox will become a little unwieldy. Again, octa spreads the light and parabolic throws the light a little deeper. A little deeper in the sense it's not, it is going deeper into the softbox, so it's more concentrated and more directional. If you are going to think of, if you just want to spread the light all around, even an umbrella can do the same thing. But parabolics have a little advantage over most of the lights and most of the other softboxes. They are much more focused and they have a very sharp drop off of the light. I think probably in the next episode or the next webinar which we will have, when I'm discussing more about shadows, I will discuss this issue as well. Sir, in wedding during present of portra light, which ISO is advisable to use on in a Nikon DSLR? Again, depends upon its model specific. I would probably use something around 800 to 1000 ISO at least. Reason is the 800 ISO is a setting which will still not allow the portra light to have much of an effect. You will be surprised that the intensity of the portra light at 100 ISO is going to be very, very low. It's hardly going to record. So you can control the amount of ambient light very easily with the studio lights or the flashes which you are using. Okay, AD Godox, for how much will it be now, sir? I have a, okay. That I think you can ask the technical team what is the price of the ADs. Yeah. Okay. Akshay Kumar, which is advisable for fashion? Okay. I guess you are talking about a parabolic softbox or the octa softbox, which is more suitable for fashion. For fashion, I would prefer the parabolic reflector. That's my personal choice. Suitable reflector for wedding for AD400, beauty dish or deep octa. Again, this is a personal choice. Again, what you are shooting. If you are shooting portraits, definitely go for a deep octa. The light has a very nice fall off. Fall off in the sense, if you are lighting the face and the upper 2/3 of the body, the bottom part of the body will go into a shadow. So that is why that would be better. The beauty dish, again, unless you put a honeycomb grid on it, it's not going to be that effective. One very important thing which you have to understand, which we will probably will be taking in a future session on light fall off, or which is known as the inverse square law. The inverse square law says this, that the larger the light source, you are going to get much softer light. So if you look at the physical size, the beauty dish is much smaller and octa is going to be physically far more bigger. So if you are keeping it at the same distance, the light quality of an octa, deep octa, is going to be much better. Now again, somebody is confused between AD200 and AD200 Pro. Now the AD200 is the older version. The AD200 Pro is the newer version. Again, what is the difference? The main difference is color consistency. The AD200 Pro is far more color consistent than the AD200. Now, having said that, it's worth understanding that the difference is not that much. So if somebody is using has been using Elinchrome lights, they'll find that the AD200 is going to be giving colors which are going to be quite similar to those. But if you are going to compare it with, say, something like a high-end light of Pro Photo or Broncolor, then the Pro series is more useful. Suresh Saib, namaskar. So the AD200 and the AD200 Pro are actually very, very similar. They are identical lights except the color temperature variation version. In the 200, the color temperature variation can be plus or minus 400 Kelvin as you increase or decrease the power. In the 200, in the Pro version, it is only plus or minus 200 Kelvin. So if we take a standard temperature of, say, 5600 Kelvin or 5500 Kelvin, plus or minus 200 will make it either 5300 or 5700 Kelvin. But if you are using something like a AD200 regular, it will be 400 Kelvin plus and 400 Kelvin minus. So it will go between 5100 Kelvin to 5900 Kelvin. Now in a wedding, it's not going to make any difference. It's the 900 degree Kelvin difference is not going to be very much visible. And generally, if you are doing regular corrections, it is going to get corrected. It will only affect you if you are shooting catalog work or fashion where your colors are very, very critical. That time you are going to have the Pro versions will definitely come in more useful. So this is something which we can, in fact, all the Pro versions, the AD200 Pro, the AD400 Pro and the AD600 Pro all have the same thing. The colors are far more consistent. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Balu. Also, the price difference is going to be quite a bit between the AD200 and the AD200 Pro. So that's another important thing which you should consider. If you are using it only for weddings, 200 can also do your job. So I think I have answered most of the questions. Okay, I think Mr. Baru is satisfied with the answer. So as I told you, please keep a lookout. Most probably before the next next webinar, my video should be on HSS and flash duration should be up. Okay, Mr. Atan was asking which is the best budget flash. Again, for studio or for on camera flash. Okay, sir, best lights for studios. See, if you ask me, Mr. Arup, best studio lights, I would say the QT series or the QS series are very good, but then they are very expensive. Okay, Mr. Ranjit Kumar has given you the entire statistics of yeah. Now, Mr. Adhan wants a budget flash for both studio and outdoors. I would then probably go for something like the AD200 Pro to be more precise. And Mr. Anil Godse wants to know which is better flash for outdoor shoot, specifically for pre-wedding shoots. For pre-wedding shoots, I would recommend either two AD200s, which you can use in a combination as an equivalent of a AD400 Pro, giving you the same kind of a power, and you can also use it as a separate. So by both together, it will make a much more sense. Is light meter essential to all photographers? According to me, yes. I have been using a light meter all along. The reason is it takes away a lot of the trial and error, especially if you are using it outdoors and you want to mix the ambient light with the flash. So especially if you have a slightly advanced light meter, it will help you to analyze the light and give the amount of the correct amount of light which is required for flash, and it can tell you the amount. Okay, this much is 60% is say flash and 40% is daylight or whatever. Mr. Balu, sir, कैमरा के लिए कोई पावर बैंक होता है क्या? Yes, there are some power. It's not a power bank. Basically, what you get is you get speed grips in which you can put additional batteries. So that is available. Rushi Photowala wants to know whether X Pro is better or X1. X Pro is definitely better, much more easier to use, more convenient. Again, if you have got used to X1, it's not that bad, but X Pro again looks more professional, and it's got a few additional features as well. So again, coming back to the light meter, yes, according to me, light meters are essential and you should use a light meter. It will tell you which light meter is best for all purposes. I would go for the Seaconic 478, which is the mid-level light meter. I would not go for the top of the range, and I will not go for the bottom of the range. The mid-level light meters are much better, has most of the features. Pro versions have 10 decimal stops between one stop, and whereas non-pro have 3 decimal stops. Yeah. Why auto setting on ISO setting Nikon D750 doesn't work? Okay. Okay, which is the best light meter? I'll just tell you in a second. Yeah. Okay, now question is why ISO auto settings Nikon 750 doesn't work with Godox trigger and AD200 flashes. Mr. Gautam, I'm not using a Nikon, I'm not a Nikon user any longer, so I'm not too sure about this particular thing. We'll get back to you on this one, and let me just see. Okay, yeah, Ranjit Kumar has answered what is the advantages of the X Pro again. For a flash meter, I would definitely recommend the Seaconic 478. This is a mid-level flash meter, as I said, and you can use it. You can also get a separate accessory with which it can become a spot meter kind of a meter. So it's a pretty good one. That's what I'm using currently. I'm not using the top of the line meter, which is the 858. So the 478 will do your job. Will do the job. 90% of it is going to work. And Mr. Gautam, yes, we'll get back to you on this, why it is not working. So I'll also have to check out why it's not working. Vikram Patil, what is the light meter की price क्या है और कौन सी best है mid range में? As I said, 478 is the one. Price you will have to check with the local distributor of Nikita. They'll be able to guide you on the exact price, what is available, and what is going to cost you. But there may be some slight price difference. MRP I might probably know. I'm not too sure. So Yes, Mr. Gautam, this is a very important thing. You have to upgrade the firmware upgradation with all with the trigger and the flash, both should be done. This is a very important thing which most people miss out on. Even I had missed out on it occasionally. I have not checked out that, you know, whether the latest firmware is available or no. So sometimes these kind of small things get corrected with the firmware upgrade. So let's check it out. So I think it's time for me to wrap up today's session, and hope to see you soon. And keep safe, everyone, and keep watching, and keep a lookout for my next video. Thank you. Okay, any of your videos to learn light meter? Yes, they will come. I'm making these videos actually because of the lockdown. I'm partially handicapped, so that is a little restrictions which I'm having. Okay, I'm ending the session now. Thank you.